Hey guys, Haig here with a look at the Vancouver Island winter weather next week and the Arctic air outbreak next week. We're going to look at the chance for snow, accumulative snow, particularly in Nanaimo because that's where I live. But for East Vancouver Island, Vancouver, Lower Fraser Valley, here is your opportunity to actually have the second White Christmas. I can't say that right, sorry. But second White Christmas in a row. As we go on into the extended forecast, I'm probably not going to even talk about the next couple of days here because the next couple of days, dry weather to about Saturday night into Sunday. Then the flurries come. So there's nothing to talk about. Everyone wants to know about the snow, so we're going to actually go over that in depth right here. So we're looking at ECMWF here, and I want to show you what I saw on this recent run that I like for the Nanaimo odds for higher snow accumulation. And we can see the initial Arctic front comes in. That's about Saturday evening, I think that would be, into Sunday. And Sunday there's flurries around, and these convective flurries, I know it doesn't look much on here right now, but if you can get it convective enough, especially if the winds line up across the Strait of Georgia and the 850 temperatures are cold enough, that can actually lead to some convection. So models might be underdoing the depth of the flurries for Sunday. So that could be a result of some like Nanaimo normally gets favored in these winds that come out the inlets and drop some more moisture on East Vancouver Island in these events. So the snowfall accumulation is still unclear, but most models that I looked at earlier, and I'll get into that in the further on into the video, is at least 5 to 10 centimeters locally on in the period into Tuesday, Sunday. That would be into Tuesday into Monday. Sorry, Monday would be Sunday into Tuesday rather. Sorry. I'm really not. I'm really tired because I just got off work, but we look at this system that might come in on Tuesday here. So on Tuesday, this is a system that's coming and it's taking a nice track here for snow. You can see where the center of that low closed on the ISO bars. It's coming over near Nay Bay, Washington, and southern Vancouver Island. That's a really good track for snow because that keeps the Arctic air more going, and that doesn't make a transition to rain when we have that track. So if the ECMWF model can actually be consistent here and actually have this outcome, this is a good scenario for snow from the Nanaimo to Victoria, and that could lead to at least a 30 centimeter dump. I mean, I've seen tracks like that do that. It would just depend. We'll look at what the snowfall accumulated maps look like in a bit. But that's like going quite a ways out still. That's still like middle of next week. So we have to watch that in terms of forecast confidence because model's going to flip-flop probably a lot back and forth before the event draws near. And we're going to go in and see another system come in. This is probably going to be for Thursday, I would say, or maybe late Wednesday. It starts off as snow for most, but that warm air, I think it's going to be associated with an atmospheric river from Hawaii. I'm not sure the original moisture source, but that would be very mild moisture coming into Arctic air. It starts off as snow, and you see that pink here that we're looking at. That could be brief freeze and rain, and then finally to rain. I do think it's going to be a rapid warm-up that day, and then it's all rain by Friday, and then it looks like multiple weather systems might come in the form of rain beyond that period. So it's looking like Christmas is mild and wet at this point, but the snow on the ground would still make it a white Christmas. Since 2 centimeters at Nanaimo Airport is the actual Environment Canada criteria for us to be into a white Christmas, that will make it year 2 in a row. And I don't know if that will mean that it's a new record at Nanaimo Airport. I might have to talk to Tyler Hamilton, because he has all that information about historical weather better than I would. So we're just going to take a look at other models here. We can't just based off one model, of course. So let's take a look at the the GIM model, or the GFS here. What does the GFS has to say? So we're going to look at the GFS once again Sunday. We start off with those flurries. More consistent on those flurries, showing a bit more shades of blue on East Vancouver Island. I would buy the GFS at this time for being a bit more consistent on the flurry action because we have some convergence probably from the outflow winds exit in the inlet during this forecast period. So from Sunday, I would say especially Sunday, we could be looking at, some accumulating snow in Nanaimo for sure there. And then here comes the system. Well, the GFS has a different track. It's keeping it more towards Haida Gwaii. That will normally should result in it turn into rain eventually when it takes this track, but Arctic air is quite deep, so it might just stay all snow even if it takes the northern track. You could see some of that green at the very end of that, trying to get into the forecast picture. Southern tip of Vancouver Island, you know. I think in this scenario, if it takes the northern track, I think that Arctic air is pretty deep enough that it's not going to turn to rain, at least on Tuesday. And a GIM model would bring it. I mean, the ECMWF wants to bring this down south towards Washington State more. So Arctic air is still there. That H that you see, according to GFS, still right there for right in the arrival of that next front coming in for Thursday. Here it comes. Once again, it starts off as snow. Then again, just like ECMWF's thinking, it's going to be freezing rain briefly, then right to rain. Really mild, likely from Friday onwards. And I think we could even hit double-digit plus sides, maybe, near Christmas. That would kind of make people wonder, well, we just had all this snow. Why is it so mild all of a sudden? But yeah, we have an atmospheric river that's going to draw some mild daytime highs and stuff. So it looks like consistent with the GFS and ECMWS as of this time for these for this scenario, and it really does favor East Vancouver Island normally, and I will get into more depth looks in a bit. All right, so we're going to go on to another forecast model here, the GIM, but the GIM I just is calling for a bit less snow here, but two models show more snow. So we're going to start the day off once again, modified Arctic front for around Sunday, maybe even Saturday evening. It comes in with those flurries. Keep in mind, convection flurries could be heavy at localized spots into the period Sunday. And as we move into Tuesday, it's not even showing that system at all. Barely showing it. It just shows flurries throughout Tuesday. And then it shows that system for Thursday and Wednesday. It's actually showing it coming in Wednesday now. So the GIM model seems to have an earlier exit for Arctic air, maybe, but a longer period of freezing rain and wintry precipitation. So it's an interesting scenario here. It seems that all the forecast models are on agreement near Thursday or even late Wednesday that we're going to finally get that huge transition phase from snow to rain. And, you know, these warm front scenarios, when they come in, they can actually dump quite a bit of snow, and you get those wet, juicy flakes at the 0 mark. You can likely pick up accumulation rapidly if the precipitation rates are heavy enough before you even transition to rain in these events. So, finally to rain, just like all the other models agree. So it's a safe bet that from Thursday into Sunday into Thursday, we're going to see precipitation in the form of frozen variety, in the form of snow, that is. And how much would that be? We have to look at some of the snowfall projection maps here. So we will actually go into here and take a look at some of them. We're going to just go into these maps here. I'm going to get a better zoomed in look at Vancouver Island here. This would be a lot more convenient for people to see a more zoomed in look here at the Vancouver Island. So we're going to go in and see... whoops, I got the wrong parameters. I want total snow. And we're going to zoom it out for the entire week here. This is by Friday here. It's picturing 15 to 16 centimeters just near the Nanaimo area, you can see on the map. So 10 to 20 centimeters, you know, I think that could be underdoing it because it depends what track the systems do take, obviously. But, you know, it depends on how heavy the precipitation is too. So we'll have to keep that in mind. That might be underdoing snowfall totals a bit for some reason, because we'll look at what the other models say. Let's compare it to ECMWF. For the same forecast period, you see the Euro model's got a lot higher snowfall. I would probably want to believe that more. I mean, the GIM is kind of not doing a good job with those convective flurries for Sunday. Right now, they're not really showing color shades of purple on the precip type map. So I would go with something like ECMWF and GFS at this time. And that pictures like at least like even southern Vancouver Island, you get south of Nanaimo, a foot of snow. But again, these tracks can change. I can make this video, upload it today, and tomorrow it could be taking a whole different track. So fair bet for snow for southern Vancouver Island. This is probably going to be the best scenario. The further south you are, Nanaimo's probably going to do well. I could say we can easily escape with 30 centimeters plus by the end of the week in Nanaimo if things line up right. So we're just going to check at another model quickly here. We'll check a look at the GFS. It's normally the most aggressive, and it shows the snow is more north, so that would be more good for Nanaimo. It's actually got 5 centimeters more than the ECMWF. It really has Campbell River being hit hard, but again, it's all about the track these systems take. We have to watch it one day at a time. Model solutions will probably change and change and change and change and change again and again. So it's looking likely that significant snow this week, or next week rather, for East Vancouver Island, Nanaimo, Comox, Duncan, Lower Fraser Valley, Vancouver, Sea to Sky Highway at the Whistler. You know, it's looking like everyone's going to get it on snow at one point or another next week. You know, whether it be periodic flurries leading up to a nice warm front Thursday with a snow to rain transition, or it could just be we could get some significant snow, especially if those flurries are convective, and especially if Tuesday system takes that southern track near Washington State. We could be looking at significant snow, maybe 2 dumps of significant snow. So it's only time's going to tell, and enjoy it because it gets people in the Christmas spirit. I know people don't like snow, but to have 2 years of white Christmases at Nanaimo, that is extremely rare. So that's all I'm going to make for now. Actually, let's look at some of these, some of the other parameters. So I'm only doing basic parameters, but I don't want to make a huge long video on YouTube. But let's look at some of our temperatures for these temperatures at the surface here. So look at the surface temperatures here for the period. We're going to close into Sunday. You can see on Sunday, the temperatures are closing into 0 right across the Strait of Georgia. You can see some -5s, -7s, and -8s, and even the -9s and -10s showing up by Monday. That is actually pretty deep on the Arctic air. GFS is normally quite deep on Arctic air events. I don't think it would get that cold. But I know it's going to get around -6 to -8 degrees at some point of these AM hours next week. But we'll see here as we take a look at other models. Let's see what the Canadian says in terms of how cold it will get next week here. I mean, I'm just going to zoom out into some of the coldest periods here. This is going by Tuesday 00Z. This would, I think, be Monday night still. Into Wednesday, look, we're seeing -7s and -8s showing up here, even on the GIM. So it's fair to say that we're going to get pretty significant cold air, but not enough cold air to break records at Nanaimo Airport. For an example, and the record for the December 20th is actually -20, recorded at Nanaimo Airport in 2008. We're probably never going to see that record break for a very long time. And the days leading up to the 20th, the records are in the -teens. I was on Environment Canada's website. I can tell you right now, if I do go into Environment Canada's website here, that some of our records even at Nanaimo Airport here, let's go into our almanac here. I think we're going to go over into the 18th when it starts to snow. You're going to need 32.5 centimeters to even beat a snowfall record that day. I don't think we'll do that with the flurries on Sunday. And then I think you're going to need it -11. I don't think you're going to see that overnight low of -11. So I don't think you'll break a record on the 18th. The 19th, the record's -13.4 in 1990. I really don't see Nanaimo breaking that record either. And then it's -20 for December 2008. And that we're not going to break that for sure. And that's the all-time record. I think it's tied with a record in the 60s. -20 happened twice at Nanaimo Airport. Once in 2008, and I think somewhere in the 1960s, I just forget when, we went to -20 one morning. So it happened twice in history. So that's very rare. The record for December 21st, -18.6 in 1990, that is not going to happen. We're not going to break those records. We just don't have super, super deep Arctic air like we used to back years ago. So it just doesn't happen anymore, I guess. But go back into the weather models, we can actually look at our temperatures again. So we'll go back into temperatures here. Put it to Celsius, regions, and we'll choose a better zoomed in look here. Vancouver. And I want to go back to the GIM. I mean, I think I already did enough of the GIM. Let's look at the ECMWF now. Actually, I think I didn't show you guys the GIM. Yeah, the GIM does have those temperatures, but nothing to break any records at Nanaimo Airport. And it pulls out likely by when the GIM's got it leaving by a lot sooner, so the cold air. But It's gonna have to watch how long this Arctic air is around. But it's nice to see some territory, like some actual high minus single digits in Nanaimo. That's rare. I mean, it happens, but it hasn't happened for quite some time. To get these Arctic air events, this is generally how we get most of our snow in the winter months. To see it so close to Christmas 2 years in a row, that's pretty lucky for us. And I hope people enjoy that and like take into consideration this is hard to do here. So that's it for the look at snow for Vancouver Island. I can make another video in a few days when I have time. Thanks for watching.